Hey guys, what's up? We're looking at lines and angles on this one. Okay, so this can be confusing for some people. So we start off here with our little notes at the top. So it says same side INT. So that stands for same side interior angle equals 180. So we'll go over both of these definitions and go down here and see what we're talking about. And then it also says AED angle, which stands for adjacent angle, right? Those will add up to 180. Okay, so what in the world does all that mean? Okay, it sounds complicated, but really it's not, right? So um, angles that are on the same side, so like on this, like A and C are on the same side of the line here, right? And so they're called same side interior angles, just on the same side. B and D, same thing, right? They're on the same side of this line going through here, right? And so B and D would be considered same side interior angles, right? And so because of that, like, so if you knew, let's say they told you that angle B equaled 100, okay, then you would know angle D has to be 80, right? Because 100 plus 80 equals 180, and the same side interior angles, B and D, have to add up to 180. Okay, so that's same side interior angles. And then we also have adjacent angles. So those are the ones that are on the diagonal from each other. So here we have angle D and angle A are adjacent. Angle B and angle C are also adjacent, right? So again, same thing. Right? If I knew angle B equaled 100, I would know that angle C had to be 80, right? Because again, when those adjacent angles, there'll be two of them, have to add up to 180. Okay, so when you see your questions on your exam, it'll always start off saying something like, given two parallel lines with a transversal crossing it, and then it'll ask whatever they want it to ask. Okay, so all that really means, right, is so here we have two parallel lines, right? So we got one line that's going through here, right? And then we got another line going through here. And the transversal, and they're just saying, just to be clear, these rules wouldn't be there if these lines weren't parallel. Right, so it's really nothing to spend too much time worrying about it. But the transversal is just this line, this top line that's going across, right? So just saying you got two parallel lines, transversal, or just a line going across it. And then you start to solve for these. Okay, so let's do an example here. Okay, so let's say they say angle A equals 60. Okay, given that angle A equals 60, we should be able to figure out that what B, C, and D all equal. Okay, so and that's just based on the two rules we've just been going over. Okay, so let's say at first we want to figure out angle C. Okay, so if A is 60, A and C are same side interior angles, right? They're on the same side, right? If A is, and remember that same side interior angles have to add up to 180. So if A is 60, C is 120, because 120 plus 60 is 180. Okay. And what about B? If we know that A is 60, C is 120, remember that with adjacent angles also add up to 180, right? So if we know that C is 120, how much is B going to be? 60, right? Because 120 plus 60 is 180. Adjacents add up to 180. And then we have angle D. Okay, so if angle B, you could solve it a couple of ways, right? If angle B up here is 60, and we know that angle D has to be 120. That was one way to do it. We also could have done it with adjacent, because we already knew that A was 60, right? And adjacents add up to 180. So we could have said because A is 60, D is 120. So that's a good way of just kind of double checking it. Make sure doing it both ways gives us the same answer. Okay, so there's same side interior and adjacent angles, right? So that's a big one right there. And we also want to look at a lot in this video. That we also want to look at complementary and supplementary angles, right? So you're gonna have to know what those mean. So the basics of it are that complementary angles means they add up to 90. Supplementary means they add up to 180. Okay, and that's just something we got to know. So you could get a question something like this. If, let's get back to my marker. Okay, so let's say they tell you you got two complementary angles. That means they add up to 90, right? Complementary angles, and they tell you that angle A is 50. Okay, and then they're basically asking you what is angle B. Okay, so we know that A plus B is 90 because they're complementary, right? Okay, then we know they just told us A was 50. So 50 plus B is 90. Then you're just going to subtract 50 from both sides. And B is going to be 40. Pretty simple, right? Pretty simple. So now what if, instead of complementary, what if they told you the exact same thing, but they told you that it was supplementary? Okay, that would mean if they were supplementary, that would mean they added up to 180, right? 50 plus B is 180. They told you the same thing. Angle A is 50. What's B? And then we again would subtract 50 from both sides. We'd have B equals 130. That would be our answer. Okay, so to review real quick this stuff from lines and angles. If you have two parallel lines with a transversal crossing it, like we did in the first example, the same side interior angles, they add up to 180. So that's the two angles on the same side of that line, right? They'll add up to 180. If you have two adjacent angles, those are the ones that are on a diagonal from each other, those also add up to 180. Complementary angles, that will be two angles, you add them together. Complementary, you get 90. Supplementary, 180.